How's everybody doing? Yeah, it's first today, right? We gotta be ready to go. It's a beautiful audience. I'm a lucky guy. Man, this is awesome. All right, well, let's get going. I was just explaining to the videographer over there that last night, I was actually 2 nights ago, I was having a conversation about this event. And I'm about to speak in front of 200 travel agents. And she was like, oh, that's still a thing? And I was like, I got offended for you. I was like, you're not right, it's still a thing. My wife is here, she's right back there. Hi, say hi, Jazz, hi. It's a local event for me. I happen to live in Atlanta. Very rarely do I get to speak in my hometown, so my wife, I was lucky enough to have joined me. But I was like, you're darn right. We used the travel agent the last 3 times we traveled. I love you guys. So I think it's an education issue that we have there. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So as we jump in here, my whole concept is social media overload. And what I mean by that is I don't want you to be a master or a jack of all social media sites, master of none. And instead to focus on a few. I know that a lot of you are business owners or you're self-employed, or even so you wear many hats, so that you need to make sure that you focus on a few. So this whole concept came about when I was doing a presentation. I started talking about Snapchat. And this fellow in the back of the room made this sound that I'd never heard before. And I think it encompasses everything that people feel about being overwhelmed in social media. So I found a similar sound. I wanted to share it with you. That's what he sounded like when we started talking about Snapchat. So for me, it was a realization that we need to keep it simple. We need to not be overwhelmed by so many social media sites, but instead focus on a few and do them really well. So number one, so I gave you all a handout, by the way, and we're gonna not necessarily follow it exactly as planned. So those type A's in the room, like myself, who need to have all the blanks filled out, at the very end, I'll make sure we fill out all the blanks, okay? So just so you know, you have that to follow along. But number one, if you're taking some notes, is to keep it simple. Focus on a few. So normally we would spend a few minutes on this slide, but we only have 40 minutes together, so I'm going to kind of give you the Cliff Notes version of this slide. Instead of going through all these and saying, should you be on it, should you not, I'm going to basically tell you the ones that I think that you should be on. All right, so obviously it's Facebook, the behemoth in the room, right? So that's priority number 1, or up at the very top. Twitter, I'm finding kind of so-so. It's still trying to find itself as a business relevant tool. I love it as a news site. I love pulling information from it. I can't say necessarily that it's been a huge driver of business for our clients that we work through our agency. Pinterest, how many Pinterest fans in the room? I could see that definitely being of value to you. It's predominantly used by women. It's a highly addictive site. I lost my wife to Pinterest about 4 years ago. I don't see her from like 9 o'clock till 10:30. So it's a very addictive site and really good in terms of time on there. But again, a women-dominated audience, and you got to kind of find ways to get with them on Pinterest. YouTube, obviously, very powerful, second largest search engine in the world, only to Google. And YouTube is owned by Google, right? So you got the top 2 there. So great resource for you, but resource intensive, meaning getting professional video up takes a lot of time, resources, and money. So we have to be careful with that and how we spend our time. LinkedIn, that was an interesting one for me, for you guys. How many of you are active on LinkedIn? Raise your hand. How many of you are using it for your travel agency business? So some of you. Yeah, I was kind of so on it because it's obviously a very business-centric audience. It's not necessarily a consumer-driven audience. I do think it's important to have a presence there for yourselves, so if anybody's checking you out or kicking your tires, you've got a good impression instead of a negative one. So we'll do a few things on there. Instagram, I'm very bullish on for you guys. Again, I'm not telling you to be everywhere, but Instagram is where the millennials are. It's owned by Facebook now, so it's got backing, and it's a very different and highly image user site, right? So for you guys in the travel space, it works perfectly. I can't tell you how many places I go and travel to where I speak, and it doesn't work for them because they're not so image friendly like you guys are. And then I got a good news for you. Google Plus, the social network Google Plus that came out a few years ago, you can cross that one out of your list if you want, so go ahead and draw that one out. That one's really not being used at all, so not widely used. So there you go. So I would say Facebook number 1, Instagram I would put number 2, I'd put Pinterest somewhere in there with Twitter at 3 or 4 in terms of your priorities. I want you to write this down, 'cause it's really important on any of these sites we talk about. If you're not generating results with a particular site, it's just a hobby. All right, and it's okay to have social media hobbies, but we got to know the difference between the two. One of them is for business purposes, and one of them is creating hobbies, or Pinterest could be a hobby for you, but are you creating business for you? So let's talk about some of those results. Obviously, here are the different results that I see on social media. And oftentimes people are always talking about generating leads, new eyeballs on your site. But here's the thing, it goes way beyond that. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Building credibility. So when somebody is checking you all out and deciding whether or not they're going to work with you, what do they see? Do they go to your Facebook page and see just a few fans? Do they check out your websites or whatever and get a little concerned about what they see there? Do they look at your LinkedIn profile and are there some holes there that need to be fixed? So building credibility. You may not win the business on your Facebook page, but you could lose it, or your website or something like that. So make sure that your online presence matches the quality of who you are as a service provider. Very important. This one, I think, for this particular industry is the biggest. Staying top of mind with our prospects and with our clients so that they use us repeatedly or they refer us business, right? So they may have heard about you in January, but they may not be booking their Disney trip or their Hawaii trip or whatever until June. How do we stay top of mind through those months without frustrating or annoying them? Social media is the way to do it, right? We just have to do it the right way. We'll skip driving to the sweet spot for now. Strengthening relationships. Are they hearing from you only when it's time to book travel, or have you built a relationship with some of these clients that refer you business and such, right? So social media is a great opportunity to be able to build relationships. We want to hear from you more often than just when it's time to spend money with you or on our travel. And then the holy grail of social media, earning referrals. Are you getting your champion clients to refer you business, right? Because at the end of the day, I got to imagine that that's still the number one way that you get business, is to have other people hear about you from somebody else, the great job that you've done. All right, so these are the different results. If you're not seeing these within any of those social media sites, then just recognize that it may not be working for you. Be active on the sites your prospects and customers frequent most. All right, so here we go. Best practice, stay top of mind with clients and prospects. So I put myself literally in your shoes and came up with this content strategy for you. I want you to take away this content strategy and use it in your business moving forward. Content is a big deal when it comes to social media, right? It's the end-all, be-all, and it's the hardest thing. So we're going to go through a quick strategy. Strategy number one is, why do we need you? This was the question that guy asked me at the dinner table the other night. They're still around? Yeah, they're still around. And you tell me why. Why is it so important to work with a travel agent instead of booking the entire trip yourself? What's the value there, right? And share that. So educate us on your value. Answer frequently asked questions about travel to build trust and credibility. So what are the common questions you always get from people who are traveling and things of that nature? Insurance, safety, health issues, Zika virus, these type of things. You are our go-to for that information, right? You're seeing that kind of stuff all the time. Case studies. Testimonials indirectly selling your value. The people who say, man, I got to tell you, you were the greatest asset to my trip. I didn't have to worry about anything. You took care of, blah, 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 blah. Share those type of things online or have them share it for you. And then videos and articles. This would be the type of material that you want to see here in terms of how you can help people. So that's content strategy number one. Number two is make us hate our life. And what I mean by that is, and I see this all the time, and I love that about you, it's like, God, we need to take a vacation. We need to go somewhere and to really just have that feeling burning inside of us that it's time to pull the trigger and go somewhere. And if I'm connected to you and you're showing me some of these trips and some of these cool deals that you're finding online, it may trigger me to go ahead and pull that trigger and go. Pics of exotic places. Ask clients to take selfies, video, and tag you. So that's a way on Instagram and on Facebook to get users to be your content experts, right? So you incentivize them to go out, and while they're traveling, they're taking pictures and showing and tagging you. So there's a sort of a third-party way for people to be able to see all the fun things that you're responsible for, which is really awesome. And then contests. I was thinking about most liked client photo gets blank, right? So you might do a contest and you might say, hey, for the fall trips or the winter trips coming up, the photo that you tag on my page on Instagram or on Facebook that gets the most likes, I'm going to give away blank, and you guys could give away an Apple Watch or something fun or unique to motivate people. Huh? An Apple Watch, yeah, not like, the Apple. You want to win that, huh? Content strategy number 3, make travel funny. So I see these all the time, and these are the things that get shared. Make me laugh, keep me engaged. Be a curator of funny content. I know that you guys get showered with funny things all the time in the travel space, and the ones that you share, you want to filter through and make sure are the best, right? So I do the same thing in social media. Anytime I see something that just tickles my funny bone in social media, I share it online. Same thing with you in the travel space. You be a curator of content. That brings me into the next slide. Be a curator of content in general. So every week, you see hundreds of really good, valuable information about travel. Take that in, figure out the 2 or 3 best pieces of information, and then only share those to your community. That's of value to me, okay? Especially if I'm in the travel zone when I'm deciding about where we're going and what we're going to be doing and that type of thing, okay? So be a curator of content. Give us only the best, and then tell us why. Found this article about safety in Europe or whatever, and thought it was a good one, want to share it with you guys, that type of thing. Here's some content resources for you. So these are the resources that we use at our agency to create content for our clients. TweetDeck and Hootsuite are basically the same thing. It's a Twitter syndicate. It's a Twitter kind of information tool. So you can put in keywords such as travel destinations or certain cities, and anytime somebody tweets about it, it'll show up for you. Okay, Google Alerts, which is not on this list, is another one that I really like. Set up Google Alerts. So you go to google.com/alerts, and you can put in travel keywords, and anytime something comes up on Google that's new, it'll be sent to you as an alert, which is really cool. We get a lot of information that way. And then drumup.com, which is a new one that I've been using that I love. You can tell them the type of topics that you like, and every morning or a couple times a week, they will send you via email some brand new content that they've found, that they've drummed up about that particular topic. So this is all ways to get information that you can share with your community, okay? Some good resources, and they're all free, which is always nice. All right, so your content goal. This is what I want you guys to commit to publish 1 article either per week or per month, 1 piece of valuable content. So this would be answering one of those frequently asked questions. And here, I'm going to give you guys the secret sauce to content. It's bullets. 5 ways, 7 things, 9 ideas, whatever. That's what we share, right? It's not paragraphs. It's not a report. We're in the ADD generation. Squirrel, we just like, blah! So 5 things that we can scan, pull something off, and move forward. So use bullets in the content that you use. Now, you might say, well, Corey, what if I'm doing a video? That's fine. Sit down in front of a video and talk about the 5 frequently asked questions you get as a travel agent. The things that you hear most. Here are the things that you guys need to take with you to make sure you're going to have an enjoyable vacation, things of that nature. Call to action. If you enjoyed this and you want to start thinking about your trip, make sure that you do have that string that ties from the value that you're giving your consumers to actually being able to work with you. And then syndicate your social on your social sites daily. So what I mean by that is, what we like to do is we take that 1 piece of valuable content and then we syndicate it across our social media sites. Let me give you an example. Actually, I'll show you exactly what I do right here. I use an example for you guys. Uh-oh, what did I do? There you go. No, maybe not. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, here it is. That's weird. All right. So I made an example for you guys. 5 reasons a travel agent is better than a superhero. Okay, so if I were you, this would be the first piece of content that I would create. And then I would take those 5 reasons and I'd use them in my social media postings throughout the week. So if you're heavy on Facebook and you got a business page, each day I would put one of those tips and then I would link it to the article. If you're on Instagram, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by here, you take one of these slides and you put one of the tips up there and you show it as an image. Okay? So here's LinkedIn. So here's an environment that I might author the article on. So I go to LinkedIn, and right there it says write an article, and you can actually publish this article right on LinkedIn. So it's connected to all of the people that you're connected with, but that's the place. Or you can put it on your travel blog. But these are two resources. That's the mothership if you want to put the content. If you create a video, then obviously you could put it on YouTube, but that's the spot that you would put the content on. Then, this is really cool. How many of you are using Canva? Yeah, you like that tool, and it's fun, right? So canva.com is a free site that you can go to and create really neat images that have text on them. So you can take your tips that you created of being a travel agent superhero, and you can make these visible, visual, beautiful images and then post them on Instagram, Facebook, and the like. Okay, really, really cool free site. So my team, you'll see these are these memes that you see all the time. That's usually how they're created, is through a service like Canva. Okay? Here's another cool one. So this is called an infographic. Now, an infographic can take your whole article and put it all in one image. So it's the 5 tips on one little graphic. And you can also create that in Canva. They literally have these templates there, and you can throw your tips in, and boom, you have a full-on infographic for your content. I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, this is all one piece of content that you're just syndicating in different ways. You're one piece of valuable content that you took out of the course of the month or a week, if you want to, be aggressive on it, and then you can just turn it into these different visual ways of showing off your content. And then use Facebook Live. So this is what we do. So I think you guys would be fantastic using Facebook Live. Okay, so it's an opportunity. You can get a little tripod. This is called the Claw. You can get this off of Amazon, and you can put your cell phone in here and prop it up somewhere, and you can hit it on Facebook, and you can go live, and it will actually show you on your Facebook stream talking about what we were just talking about, the 5 ways to be a travel superhero. Now, why should you use Facebook Live? Facebook is pushing it hard. How many of you are active all the time on Facebook? Raise your hand. How many of you have seen when your friends or people that you know have gone live? Right? They're really pushing that right now because they want people to see it. So I would encourage you to put that into your marketing stream. Click that button, sit in a chair, and just say, hey, we were recently talking to a traveler, and they asked the question about what can we answer those questions. Now, here are some Facebook Live best practices. If you're going to go live, tell people ahead of time that you're going to go live. You'll get more audience, a better audience that way. So let people, next Tuesday, we're going to go live, and we're going to answer questions about the upcoming fall travel season. I know the airports are the busiest they'll ever be. We've got an election coming up. Whatever you want to talk about, you can talk about and tell people you're going to go live and talk about it. Then people can comment on your live videos. Hey, I got a question, about this, and you can say, hey, Steve, thank you for asking your question, and you can go ahead and answer that live right there. And then be consistent when you use Facebook Live. If you go off the first time, you might get a couple, 20, 30, 50 people watching. But over time, if you're adding value and you're really showing people, your expertise in the travel business, you can actually really gain an audience. I just had a colleague of mine went live yesterday. She doesn't have a big audience at all, but she had 1,000 people watching. And she's just like us. It's a really big tool to use right now on Facebook. And the nice thing about Facebook Live is once you hit stop, it captures the video and it leaves it on your site forever. So you have video of yourself moving forward. It doesn't go away. So you can share it again and think like you would a YouTube video. Okay? This is a little secret ninja tip for you guys that not a lot of people know, but if you have an email list, you can upload it to Facebook, and Facebook will help stimulate kind of a what they call a lookalike audience, people that are within the same demographics, within the same geographical area on Facebook to be able to grow your network a little bit. So because we don't have a ton of time, I would just, if this is something of interest to you and you do have a database like on Constant Contact or Exact Target, go to Google and type in Facebook lookalike audience, and they'll take you through the steps of being able to do that, and you may be able to expand your market that way at a fairly economic and efficient way. Winners in the digital marketing space are producers, not perfectionists. So what do I mean by that? I've worked with engineers before in the past, and they're like perfectionists, and they want to create the perfect piece of content. And 8 months later, They've created no content. So what I want you guys to do is not to worry so much about being perfect, but to be consistent. Okay, and to consistently put valuable content out there. Be a resource for people, help people when they're in the travel zone. And the more you can think about how you can help people, the more you'll build and strengthen your audience. Get your travelers to become your sales force. So this is a good Instagram tip as we move along here. I would recommend Instagram and Facebook contests. Tag me or us in a pic using the hashtag blank, whatever hashtag you want to use, and win blank. Turn a thank you into a pic or a video. So if somebody calls you on the phone and maybe you see them on Facebook, they're out during their trip, shoot them a note and be like, you know, your best thank you to me would be to shoot me a 15-second video just telling me how much you're enjoying your trip, and then share that on Instagram or Facebook. That would be awesome. That would be a really cool way of doing that. And then this tool, I want to give you guys some free resources that you guys can use. Crowdsigns.com, we use it all the time. They create like physical signs. So this is just something I thought of, it's kind of out of the box. But you guys, they can create much smaller ones, but like I'm having fun at blank or whatever. And you could actually send this. So let's just say you had a group going to Hawaii. You could send them a crowdsign sign that they could show or hold up with their faces in it while they're in a waterfall or something. I mean, just have some fun with it, you know, play with it. But incentivize people, encourage people to talk about you guys on social media. That's the holy grail, right? Is to build a referral network. But here's the unfortunate part. People are more motivated to talk online when they're unhappy than when they're happy. So we've got to figure out ways to encourage them to talk about us when they're happy. And I got to imagine a lot of times in your world, you have a lot of happy customers on vacation. So you just got to encourage them to talk about you. If you want to find millennials, plant your flag on Instagram. I see everybody's taking pictures, so everybody knows the clock. What time is it?
9:22.
Thank you. If you want to find millennials, plant your flag on Instagram. So let me give you a couple of things about best practice or things about Instagram. Millennials obviously dominate that platform. It's voted the #1 app for social engagement by millennials. It doubled its users over the past month in the last 2 years. Now has more than 500 million users, 80 million photos uploaded each day, and like I said, it's owned by Facebook, completely separate platforms. I would say no to Snapchat. Okay, now here's the thing. Some people may disagree, whatever, you know, but this is the statistic that I look at here is, you know, age 13 to 25. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be here a year from now, 2 years from now, like Instagram has. This was Instagram statistics 2 years ago. But my concern for you is if you try to plant your flag on all these different sites, that you may not do Facebook justice or you may not do Instagram justice. So it is my humble recommendation to you to hold off here and instead double down on the places like Facebook and Instagram and do those really well. So that would be my suggestion. If that is not your cup of tea, then go for it. Strengthen VIP relationships on Facebook. So this would be a huge one for me. I'm surprised that, you know, with the travel agents that we've worked with over the time, you know, we take, you know, our family takes probably two maybe three vacations each year, maybe mini ones or whatever the case may be. So, you know, we can be a long-standing client for our travel agent and such. And I just really believe that building relationships on Facebook is a really powerful way to be able to deepen those relationships. This would be personally friending your clients. How many of you, by raise of hand, do that? You friend your clients on Facebook. How's it working out for you? Just generally, rule of thumb, really good. Yeah, you can support them during challenging times. You can congratulate them on achievements. You know, you can compete for cuteness pictures with grandkids or children, things of that nature. But I really bring it down to this little quick story, which was our largest client, his name is Terry, called me up, and again, he's been our largest client 5 years standing, and he said, Corey, we got to talk. And whenever you hear those words, we got to talk, it's never a good thing, right? At least you think it's not. And I said, okay, Terry, what's up? And he's like, I got to tell you something. I was like, okay. He's like, I just want to tell you how much I enjoy watching you as a dad on Facebook. And I was like, thanks, man. Like, that was totally, I didn't even really recognize the fact that we were that connected on Facebook. But, you know, I'm a dad. You know, I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. I'm throwing pictures up there all the time. And he sees that stuff, and it makes him feel good about doing business with me in a sort of a way, because I've got that family balance, man. I'm like, you know, I enjoy my business, I enjoy helping him out, but I also enjoy, you know, being a dad and being a husband and that type of thing. And I think that matters. I think people like doing business with the people they like. And so are there challenges with this particular strategy, if you want to call it that? Yes, sure. I went to Florida State University, so we have to constantly be watching what people tag us in photos and things of that nature from our college days. So be very careful with your privacy settings, right? So for example, if you don't want people tagging you on photos and it showing up, then you can change that on Facebook very easily. So if this is something that you're thinking about, maybe you haven't done as much, or you are doing, just go, next time you go on Facebook, go over to the privacy settings. They'll literally take you through a yes/no thing and make you feel more comfortable about what can be seen on Facebook without your permission. Okay, and it'll make you feel a little bit more comfortable. And then of course the old adage, I don't think I have to tell you guys this, but just in case, no politics, no religion, nothing that you can't talk about with your, you know, extended family on Thanksgiving dinner tables. You know, it's like, I don't want, like anytime, you know, let's talk about politics. No, thank you, I'm good, I'm good. I'm either gonna frustrate 49 or 51% of my audience, so I'm good with that. It really bugs me, you know, I can't believe that very smart business people do that on these social sites, thinking that we all think the same, which obviously we don't. So I'd stay away from those and stay with cool things. One other thing that just popped into my head that's actually a really good thing to talk about is you should newsjack though. What I mean about newsjack is the things that are being talked about that are safe to talk about, that you can relate back to travel, such as the Zika virus. That just is the first thing that comes to my mind. But you know, we're like all scared about that, right? And you might be like, whoa, 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 let me tell you about the areas that that's a concern in and some of the areas that's not. And then all of a sudden you're the expert. And we're really interested in that stuff because it's top of mind, it's current. That's called newsjacking. And I do recommend that. We use that all the time. If you can relate it back to your topic, that's a great thing to do, okay? Really quickly on LinkedIn, I told you I wouldn't spend a ton of time, but I do want, if those of you are on LinkedIn, I just want to make sure you're doing this. High-res photo, make sure it's current. My dad's 74 years old. He has no gray hair in his picture. It's not current. For you guys, this background photo is a great opportunity to really show people what you do, you know, and put a really great travel photo back there. Again, I don't make any money from Canva, but this is the third time I'm mentioning them. You can use Canva to create your cover photo for your different social media sites, and they'll tell you where you're going to get, you know, obviously blocked out and where it actually shows up, and you can actually put writing on there and stuff. So that's one thing I want you to do. I want you to make sure, so you're supposed to put your first name and last name up here in the black text. I actually do first name Corey Perlman, last name social media speaker and consultant. I'm kind of breaking the rules there. I'm not suggesting that, although if you do it, you know, whatever you want to do. But either way, either in there or down here, make sure you're very clear on what you do. So if people are skimming through, and I got the question last night at another speaking event I was at, do the results when people search on LinkedIn matter with these? Yes, they do. So if somebody types in travel agent or travel consultant or whatever the case may be on LinkedIn, and you have those up there, you have a better chance of ranking higher on the directory than if you don't, just like on a Google search. 500 connections. Obviously, if you're going to take the time to share on LinkedIn and do some things on LinkedIn, I want you to connect to the people. Your obvious connections are your customers, your clients, okay? So when you work with somebody, especially if it's a business contact, connect with them on LinkedIn. And then when you share that great article that we talked about earlier, post it on LinkedIn. It's super easy to do. It takes like 5 seconds. Why not? Okay, you can either share it as a tip or you can publish it as an article, as I talked about before. These are actual full-on articles right here. Or you can just do them like a status update on, like you can on Facebook. Oh, this is a big one for you guys. On your professional summary, you can add multimedia down there. So on LinkedIn, the next section is a professional summary. I think you guys are the kings and queens of video. So I would put a really good video of, an exotic place that you've worked with before or something to get people, but we are visual, right, learners. And so, yeah, you can have text, but just think about the type of videos that you could pop in your professional summary to show people what you do, okay? I think that would be really exciting. And then I use my bullets point from earlier in your professional summary as well. Anytime you write online, use bullets. Anytime you write online, make sure you use bullets. So in summary, fish where the fish are. Don't forget to do that. Don't be a jack of all sites, master of none. You're doing it wrong if you do that. So I would really suggest focusing on a few. And by the way, just so you guys know, we'll do a couple more here, and then we're gonna have like 5 minutes for questions too. I'll make sure that we have a little bit of dialogue and make sure you get your questions answered. And I also want to tell you guys this too. If we run out of time, because we're gonna be very strict on time here, I'll be outside and I'll be around for a while today too. I mentioned I'm local, so just kind of look for me out there if you have any. I'm happy to help you guys all day long. Don't get bent out of shape with slow results. So these things take time. So if you do like the Facebook Live video, if you guys are working some of these strategies that I gave you, it takes a little bit of time. Also, I want to make sure that we fill out your handout here. So everybody get your handouts out. Type A's in the room, get your handout out. Your 3 main benefits to digital marketing is to get found, to build credibility with having really good social media platforms, and staying top of mind, which is what we focused on a ton today, because for you guys, the top of mind strategy is going to be huge. List out 3 clients that have referred you business. Do that really quickly. 3 clients that have referred you business. And then make sure you friend them on Facebook, because they'll refer you more. Are you connected to them on Facebook? It's the most powerful CRM, which is customer relationship management tool on the planet. Instagram is worth your time for 3 reasons. Because you're all about images, plays well with Facebook, because they own them, and the millennials. One thing I didn't mention yet, but I am very positive on, is email marketing is far from dead. How many of you have checked email today? Raise your hand. Hi. Okay, so it's not dead. See, people are still checking emails. So the challenge is, of course, is getting your emails read. But let me give you guys a good tip for that. Use the article that we talked about you're going to write once a month and send that out as your e-newsletter. Don't send out stuff about you or any kind of selling type. Just value. Send that out, and we'll be much more apt to open it. Publishing content on the web can help you become known as a thought leader in multiple industries. So the next one is come up with 3 topics that your customers and prospects would find valuable. So these would be your topics that you might write about over the next 3 weeks or 3 months. What are frequently asked questions that you guys get all the time? Shout one out to me. Airline tickets. Okay. Passport information. Insurance. Luggage fees. That's right, but I'm a Delta card member holder, so I don't have any luggage fees. Write those down. Create valuable content. Use bullets. Syndicate that content. Your LinkedIn profile should include a high-res photos, video in the description tag, quality recommendations, a headline of what you do, and get to 500 plus connections. All right, so all your... Yes, sorry. Too much coffee today. High-res photos, video in description tag. So you remember video in the description. You remember the professional summary, add video. You can put a YouTube clip in there. You can put any kind of video in there you want. Quality recommendations. And what I mean by that is people who love you guys and love the travel that you help them put together, those are the people I want you to ask recommendations for, because they'll put buying signals in there. I've earned business through LinkedIn recommendations. But you want people who are using, like I say, buying signals. You know, she helped me do this, she did that. That's the kind of recommendation you want. Headline of what you do, which is up at the top, and then to get to 500 plus connections. And that's just, don't worry so much about numbers, but I hate to go to a LinkedIn profile and see 21 connections. I prefer you not be there than for you not to be managing it, because it makes you look small, and I know you're not. I know you're well connected. You just got to make sure to work it a little bit. Creativity wins on Facebook. So I mentioned a couple ideas that took me like, an hour to think about. This is the way we used to cook hot dogs in college. That's exactly right. You went to Florida State too, huh? So just be thinking about, ways that you can stand above the noise. The biggest challenge with Facebook is that it's so crowded. So you really have to think about some fun things. And if you've got millennials in your life, if you've got younger people, get them to give you some ideas. And also, when you're checking out Facebook or playing on there, see what you engage with. And see how you can use that in your business. We do that all the time. We steal stuff all the time. Speaking of which, don't put these photos online, okay? Because these are Google images and I might get in trouble. Focus on a few and forget about the rest, as I mentioned before. Okay, so that's my website address. That is my email. That's my cell phone. We do have books on sale outside for $20 a copy. When you guys are out over here, Jessica, I'll sign a copy for you. We talk about everything I talked about in here, plus and then some. But with all that said, who has the first question of anything that we covered or didn't cover? Yes, sir. Is there anything you can do to post to all these things? Yes, so we use, we use Sprout Social is one that we use. That's a pay-for service called Sprout Social. But you can also use Hootsuite or TweetDeck, which is what I showed earlier, which are free resources that will post to most of the sites that I shared today. Yes, sir.
What about Skype? I didn't hear you mention Skype for business, but I do use that a lot because I also my company in London.
Yeah, I have no problem. The question is, what about Skype? I use it all the time. Yeah, I don't use it as obviously as much as a social network necessarily. But I use it as a platform to be able to talk to people across the world and things of that nature, and I love it. Yes, sir.
Two-part. Do you use Periscope, and how long should you be on Facebook Live?
Okay, two questions. Do I use Periscope and Facebook Live? So there's a good example. Periscope is a video form. This is the thing that I want you to think about as a new, because we're not going to be able to see each other moving forward. So I want you to remember this. Don't be careful of the shiny new penny syndrome, right? So Periscope came out, and I was like, okay, it's this video platform, kind of before we slammed our flag in there. Well, what does Facebook do? They go and they create Facebook Live and pretty much just kick them out of the game. Some people love Periscope, but I always like seeing when social networks get backed by the big behemoths like LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter. So I'm not a fan of Periscope. I use Facebook Live. And then the second question was,
how long should you stay on Facebook Live?
how long should you stay on Facebook Live? In order to get your audience kind of built in, it needs to actually, you're used to doing these 90-second videos, but that one might be more like 5 to 7 minutes because it takes a little time for people to get in there. And you can go longer. If you're really giving value and you got people asking questions and such, it can go longer. But the short ones, you're not going to be able to get a very quick built-in audience because it takes time for people to see that you're on there and then to join your live. So I would say 7 to 10 minutes might be a good minimum. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you can. Can you save that Facebook Live video? And the answer is yes, you can. It saves for you. Yes, you can post it, you can repost it, that type of thing. Yes?
Just having a separate Facebook account for your personal and your travel agent?
Question is, do I recommend having a personal page for personal as well as a personal page for business? No, because it's twice the amount of work, and there's that uncomfortable thing when somebody's like, hey, can I connect with you on Facebook? And you're like, well, you're not really a friend, you're kind of a business contact. So I would prefer, if you're okay with it, for you just to have one place that you can go. And then you can have a company page that gets likes and such, but I would have one personal page. Yes?
The same for LinkedIn. You had a previous career and built up to 500 plus, connections, and now you're doing this.
The question is about LinkedIn. Should she start over because she has a new career? I wouldn't start over because that's like starting from scratch. What I would probably do is spend that same time cleaning out. You can unfriend or unconnect with some of your previous clients and then reconnect with new ones on LinkedIn and then change your experience and things of that nature. I hate to see you start over, though. Yes?
The social media had the 3 benefits. State those again.
Yes, ma'am. No problem. Get found. Get found, so that means like people find you. Build credibility, and stay top of mind. No problem. Yes, ma'am.
Is there any benefit in doing the free membership of LinkedIn versus?
These are great questions. Free membership versus premium membership on LinkedIn. I'd stay free until they start dead-ending you. So for example, if you start using the Get Introduced feature on LinkedIn, all of a sudden they're going to be like, or you're trying to see people who have viewed your profile, they're going to be like, you can't do that anymore, and that's really bugging you. At that point, you can upgrade, but I hate to tell you all to upgrade and then you not use it as much and you're spending $100 a month. Yes? Yes. Yeah, do you have a Mac? Okay, so what I would do is the final question, I'll let you guys go. For editing for YouTube videos, I'm going to give you a resource, and it's called, Odesk is good, and what is that? What's Elance now? Upwork, that's the word, upwork.com. UPWORK.com. For a minimal amount of money, they can take your video and edit it for you, okay? Thank you all so much for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry, if you have a Mac, they have the tool on there. They have a free Camtasia tool on there you can use. Thanks, everybody.
Loved it, Corey.
Thank you.
High energy. Just
Oh, thank you.
needed it.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.